be a good connection for you guys as soon as they get a little bit bigger budget.
Okay.
So, but that would actually be a really good one.
Apparently TikTok came out with this new update.
So eventually that could be something for sure.
Okay, awesome.
Can I tell you what
We are live on
We're live.
YouTube.
Because I was thinking, brought to you by Backlash Studios or AZ Pod Studios.
Oh,
For us,
yeah,
this episode is being brought to you by.
that would be awesome.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We don't need it instead of being someone else, right? Like,
Yeah,
same type of deal we were just talking about. Why not, right?
yeah,
Let that push out that way, and then depend like how those we'll naturally slide it into, and then that could be like a snippet that could run us an ad for you to get more.
that'd be awesome. That'd be super cool.
Going virtual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be virtual, but you can do it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I try to make those sponsorship connections too, like when they make sense, because like that's what I try to do more and more about the ecosystem situation here. Because usually when one sponsor comes in, eventually if that works out really well for them, they're more interested in other ones. And so I kind of name drop shows that, so, all right, let me get this stuff going. Hello, live audience.
We're live, baby.
YouTube,
Welcome.
TikTok.
Pull up, pull up.
Woo woo.
I told you to.
I don't think we're.
Okay, green. You got green and white on like Michigan State.
We do, but also the jewel colors, remember? Like my suit that I got
Yes.
from
Oh, yeah, those, yeah.
That's a jewel color, this is a jewel color.
Jewel color. Dropped out the right. And you got the
Dropped out.
orange. We can't flash the camera on the orange though. Told you.
That's
watch
true.
The feet
That's
people out there be on it.
Screenshot.
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 Whoa, whoa.
Weird.
Whoa, weird.
Okay, guys, camera 1, camera 2, sorry, online audience.
Online, what's happening? We live, baby. Come into you live.
Live.
Pick up and kill it.
And kill it, and kill it.
Pick up and kill it, and kill it, and kill it. It's a Tuesday with my baby. We in the studio making it go crazy.
Making it go crazy because it's the lady. We're going to eat some meatball sub later.
Gotcha.
What y'all eating for dinner? Let us know in the comments what's for dinner.
What's for
And
dinner?
the meatball subs is plant-based too, so.
Or are you having a girl dinner?
Oh, charcuterie board?
Charcuterie. Charcuterie.
You guys are making me hungry.
I feel like as soon as our charcuterie comes out, I clear all of the trail mix off the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not touching any cheese.
No, I'm good. Cold cheese, I'm not
And
interested.
you're not
in.
touching any of the
I feel like cold cheese is like, no,
string cheese. What are you talking
not
about?
interested.
I'm very
There
interested.
were many lunches that string cheese got left in the back.
That's crazy.
There was one that was like decent, but no, it just,
Okay.
No, I'm ready, so I just.
Yeah, no, you're good. That's why I told them wrap it.
You guys start whenever you're ready.
Hey, Coupley Fit fam! Welcome back to another episode. We are so excited. I feel like we say that every episode, but we really are. This one's all about glow-ups and grown-ups. How marriage changed us inside and out.
I tell you what, Dee does always tell me she changed my life.
Come on now.
And the more, and the more that I think about it, the more she's right.
That's like that meme that you see on Instagram,
Yeah.
where a gentleman is saying, I know that my wife is right, I just don't like her tone.
You know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yes,
You know, absolutely.
absolutely. So today we are going there. We are talking about the glow up inside and out and how marriage has transformed us in ways we didn't expect. But before we truly get started, please like and subscribe if you are watching us on YouTube. If you are watching our clips on social media, please follow us at Coupley Fit, CoupleyFit. Let's get into it. All right, so this first part, we are talking the before marriage glow up. So who did we think that we were before marriage? Or who were we before we were married?
Wanna be a baller, shot
Shot caller,
caller,
20
twin
ways.
ways, only a baller. No,
Oh my God.
What?
At 22, were we though?
But not in that sense. I mean, I say that when we met, I was still playing football, so
Yeah.
I still very much identified as a football player at the time, very focused on that. But that was a part of like my identity shift because it was a real gut check for me, getting injured, not going to the NFL, and so that was a part of the journey too of just like going through my master's program and then like pivoting and just
Yes.
the life lessons that came along with that also. So I would say there was definitely a big transition, but also a season of being like, who am I? Because
Yeah.
I used to be an athlete. Who am I now? Because I thought I was going to be a pro athlete.
Yes, and to your point, it's interesting because, I remember when you were going through your master's program at the University of Akron
Go
and
Zips.
fear the room.
Fear the room.
And that was, it was also nice to see too, you going through your schooling, because I also was wrapping up my schooling at ASU, right?
Sun Devils. Well, you
Yeah,
just
Sun
wrapped
Devils.
up.
I just wrapped up, yeah.
You were doing some certifications too.
Yes, so I just wrapped up, but interesting enough, before we met, Q independent, INDEPENDENT.
No,
Yes.
totally, and to that point, that was something that really stood out. That also I just recommend for people that are listening, whether you're dating somebody or with your partner, I think it is important to have your own independent identities before you meet. Because I think a lot of times, depending on when you meet your partner, like if you're high school sweethearts or you meet early in college, like you're kind of formulating that together versus you were super independent on your own, doing your own thing. I was super impressed, just like, when you typically on a first date, you ask those initial questions like, oh, do you have your own place? Oh, do you have your own car? Oh.
All of that and
Oh,
more.
you're a winner. winner, chicken dinner. And that's kind of what the vibe was like, oh, but you already had that going on for yourself and you had already graduated and were working full time and were, again, on your journey. It's still a journey, like, we hadn't figured it all out, but I could just see like, oh no, she's ambitious, she has all of these things. So I felt like I knew that was gonna be a great compliment.
Yes, and what we had in common that still carries with us today is, we didn't work out in the gym together, but we made it a point that we were going to the gym. I was doing a little bit of a different workout than you were doing. At one point we were at different gyms, but that was something that was consistent for both of us, was making sure that we stayed fit in that way. And then also I was still meal prepping then for you too. But before then, because this is before, we're talking before marriage, I was doing the same thing, but a lot of also, I was doing my first wave or version of healing as well, just leaving, where I was raised in Goodyear, Arizona, which,
What side?
woo, there was a reason that, I get asked all the time if I was in witness protection. That's how far away it was, and leaving a rural area that didn't suit me, that I had not so many great memories. I had to do a lot of healing when it came to family, but then also who I was, and I did that throughout college. But then by the time I met you, I did a lot of that healing, like that first version and first wave of healing. So you were also getting that person as well. So it was, we were both on our paths, our journeys. We had a pretty good idea of where we wanted to go. But then when we met each other in the club, we very much were kind of like, this is who I am, this is who you are, and I think that we can complement each other well. And I think that was just a good start to our relationship. Although again, it wasn't a club, but it was a good start because we did some research on each other.
Big time. Well, big time. Do your due diligence.
Yes.
It's important.
It is.
And just getting to know even the compatibility, right? I don't know all of the horoscopes and all of the things, but I will say, I'm a Taurus, you're a Scorpio. They do say they do work well together, just as far as how we operate and just mindset. So some of those things just I think work out in our favor. Obviously we didn't plan. I was like, hey, what's your zodiac sign?
No.
We found that out later. I was like, oh, that's an extra +1.
Yes, and you actually sent me what a website, actually.
I seen the potential, y'all. I saw the potential. Early, not late.
Yes. What's one thing you thought you had together before we were married, but you didn't?
Man, my finances. Before, like, I really thought,
That's
you know,
real.
I was like, man, you know, young Thundercat, already, we got a house, I'm young, let's go. And then you realize, like, man, so much goes into it with life and starting a business, and that was something that we did together that was on our journey, which, I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do, but like, that's a big investment, especially when you initially get married, right, and you have a house and you're young, because if you think about it, like, we could have done renovations and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
And we were investing in like logos and branding and
Yes.
shirts and
Merch.
merch.
Yeah.
Like, we literally were like, no, we're building like the things
Yes.
you see on TV of like people, selling shirts out of their trunk, like our
Yes.
everything was in the trunk.
It was on a folding table. Come on now.
Still have the folding table.
Still have the folding table and still have some of that merch.
Come on now.
now. I just wore a Coupley Fit sports bra, Coupley Fit tank, and we used to have our matching,
Coming to-
matching t-shirts.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, it'll come back. If y'all want it, let us know, drop it in the comments. If you want some Coupley Fit merch. or
Wristbands, we had to
should we
get your
bring it
strong
up?
on wristband.
Hats. What do you need? We got it. So one thing that I thought I had together, but definitely didn't, I would have to say, well, so it's kind of twofold. So on one end, I was, like I said, I was coming out of my first wave of my healing. And so I thought that I had I did have my emotional maturity there, but then when you get into a relationship and then ultimately when you get into a marriage and you have to take the other person's, thoughts, feelings, concerns, everything into consideration, there's just a new way of being emotionally intelligent that I thought that I had packed down. Like, oh yeah, emotional intelligence, check, got it. Which again, still did. It was just a different version that I had to learn getting into a relationship and a marriage. Because we met in the club at 22. I think you might have been 23 though. We were heading into 2023. I was still 22. So 22, 23, and then married at 25. I was 25 and you were 26. So some people, nowadays that's kind of early, right? Like some people would say that's early to get married, but
A lot of people ain't getting married. Like, you're seeing people 23, 24, 25, 26, and it's just like, we have a kid, or we have a situationship, or we cohabit, like, and that's become the norm. And one thing interesting, I saw some statistics around the fact of your likelihood of just success, prosperity, right?
Yes.
Even going back to the biblical times, but having that foundation of being husband and wife, because again, when you don't have that commitment and you're not locked in that way, a lot of things, people feel like,
yeah,
I just made moves, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
One argument,
yeah,
I'm
that's
gone.
true. That's
I'm going
true.
back to my place.
That's true.
And it's like, dang, right? And now you have a child or whatever the case may be versus, we're really investing into this and we're looking at this as a forever decision. So there's no, we're walking away. If we upset, you better go, go to the other room, come back.
Come
Like,
on.
but for real, like, it's just a different
Yeah.
level. So I think that's something that it makes a difference just for those that are listening out there too, that are maybe on the fence of like, man, is marriage for me, or, do it like, no, it makes a huge difference when it comes down to that foundation
Right.
and that growth too.
Yes, and it's interesting you say that because I've been watching more podcasts on YouTube where one of the main threads that I'm hearing throughout podcasts, especially ones that are talking about, hey, I work with my husband, i.e., right, the founder of Poppy, she works with her husband, they just sold their company for $1.9 billion. She was on the Emma Grady's podcast, Aspire, and she was talking about how the biggest decision that you will ever make in your life is your partner and who you marry. That is one of the biggest decisions because they can literally either take you to the next level or bring you down. And that's true. We have seen that with our own eyes where it's like, whoa, this one person was on the trajectory to be this incredible person. And, they married somebody or got into a relationship and they completely changed. They're somebody that, don't even recognize now. And it's interesting too, because we always talk about being equally yoked, right? And being able to come into a situation where you both have done some sort of work, some sort of healing, shadow work we always talk about, right? Or even knowing and learning yourself and what you're looking for, and then being able to then come to somebody almost as your first version of being a whole person. Because we always say, especially in this podcast, you are multiple versions of yourself throughout your entire life. And, it's hard to do that work in the beginning, but when you find somebody that believes in you, that supports you, but then also challenges you. I think that's something too that people, kind of shy away from a little bit in marriage, is like, I don't want somebody who's gonna challenge me. And it's not a challenge you like, I'm trying to What'd you say? No, it's like, it's a challenge your thought process, your perspective, the way that we might interact. So those are a couple of things I thought too that I want to make sure that we just mentioned.
No, I love that you mentioned that. It kind of reminds me of a quote, essentially being mindful of how you pick your mate, because that's going to be a part of your journey to being great.
Absolutely.
It's really important. I just thought that was
bars.
that was on the TLP, just so you know. But I said that to say, when we also talk about the fact of, you mentioned picking the right mate, and like what can the consequences be of not picking the right partner and person. In my just devotional this morning, I was reading the old Bible study notes, and it was talking about if you pick a contentious partner, which...
Ooh, I know exactly. Is it the scripture? Is that what you're going to say?
Yes, so essentially, if some people are like, well, what's contentious? Like, define that for me. But essentially, contentious is, when someone gets upset with you or they don't have their way, is it a contentious environment? Is it angry? Is it hostile? Is it backbiting? Do you feel like it's not a comfortable? Is it not a safe space? Like, right? Like, it's contentious, right? The room, you can just feel the vibes when it's contentious.
Air feels thick.
Air feels thick. Like, ooh, did it get dark in here? Like, ooh, why are the vibes off? So that's contentious. But they said being in a contentious relationship with a contentious man or a contentious woman is the equivalent of living on the corner of your rooftop. I said, this is in the Bible. In the corner of your rooftop, but if you think about it, how many people are trying to hide and get away?
Yes.
A room. Some people, I see the memes on IG.
Or video games.
Not just the video games, but people hide in the bathroom.
Yes.
Legit. Men like I'm just in
3
there
hours in the bathroom, unacceptable. Especially if you have kids,
And
unacceptable.
now that's like you in a confined space, like it's not the most ideal, right? Like, but again,
Your legs are going dead because you're on the
legs are shaking, hold me up.
Yes.
But if you think about that, right, it's like, is that person in the contentious environment where I'd rather be confined to the bathroom for 3 hours to get some peace and be by myself rather than be with my partner? That's the problem. That's probably a situation where if they could rewind time and say, ooh, is this the most ideal partner? Is this person gonna be right for me? Are they gonna be contentious later on? And a lot of times and you just kind of people gloss over it.
You're absolutely correct.
Come on
And
now.
we've seen it
Come on
with
now.
our own eyes.
You see a yellow flag and run right past it. You're like, oh, red flag, run by. Coach calling timeout, you just ignore
Yes.
it.
And ladies, I know we do it. We think that we can change anybody and everybody, especially men. And that's not always true. And so something I quickly recommend is to take a look back or hear back our episode where we had the pre-marriage checklist.
Ooh, those are bars.
Those are where we dive deeper into before you get married. These are some of the things that you need to talk about before heading into an eternal life with somebody. And a lot of the questions are uncomfortable. They are something that can make or break a relationship. However, wouldn't you want to know this now?
Come on now.
And not be in a situation where it's like, I feel comfortable now, but 5, 10, 15 years down the line, I'm in a contentious relationship. I feel like I am in the corner of the rooftop. Wouldn't you want to then know, well, if I would have, done some of the pre-marriage checklist beforehand, I would then be able to say, okay, maybe this is a deal breaker. And knowing what your deal breakers are, that's in the pre-marriage checklist that we talked about.
And sometimes this doesn't mean throw away the relationship.
No.
Breaking up with somebody or those types of things. It can literally be like, we just need to put this out on the table.
On the table.
Hey,
Correct.
you are X. You don't eat pork, and I'm a meat lover. Like, I'm just saying, if that is a thing for somebody, and it's like that, you gotta talk about it.
Yes,
You
and
know?
some of these are, juvenile
Yeah, just wanna make it simple
situations.
on the
Just make it
example.
simple on the examples, to your point. But it is one of those things where you do have to lay out those and grievances, right? Lay those out on the table so that both partners can also know where the other person is coming from, but you're also giving me a choice. Because sometimes you can get into a marriage and now you feel like I have no choice. How do I, if I do decide to, remove myself from the situation, what's going to happen? We're so entangled. How are all going to be with kids, right? There's so many things that can happen, but if you do the work beforehand and at least put things on the table, you can then say to each other too, you know what? Maybe we need to have professional help. Maybe we do need somebody who is going to be able to guide us professionally in a way that's going to be constructive and effective. Because, even for us, we did pre-marriage counseling.
Huge.
Yeah, that was amazing. And it was with our pastor, you can do it with whoever, but that was something for us where it was just, he's asking us questions, and although we know each other well, we just, it gave us that moment to sit back and think, okay, hold on, before I answer, let me truly think this through before I answer this, because these are big questions. These are, questions that need to be asked, but they're scary.
And to that point of talking to, I love that the things that we talk about, it's not just us preaching something that we haven't lived.
Correct.
This is lived experience,
Yes.
right? Not just theory. And I think that's powerful because to that point, if it's a pastor or a confidant, someone also that can be neutral in this situation, because you want to be able to have the candid conversation. Maybe it's about family, maybe it's about finances, maybe it's about these other elements that you wouldn't necessarily have someone kind of probing or asking a second or third level question. But that's sometimes where you need to go when you're talking about marriage, because a lot of times people, and you don't always have the foundation or the example
That's so true.
of that transparency
Definitely.
from your parents
Definitely.
or even other relationships. I mean, even when we
You're
look at,
breaking generational patterns, probably.
and even when we look at TV, right? Like, people will have you think that it's like you're married, you're in love, argument, exit. Like, you're just out of there. And it's like, wait, where did, like, can we go argument? Can we go repair? Can we go therapy?
Repair, restore,
Like, but they don't show you that journey a lot
Yes.
of times on what's the show? Love Island. They're not sure.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know. They're not
I
sure.
don't know what Love Island's about.
You get what I'm saying? But whatever the show is of the day, like
Yes.
they're not showing you that. And I think that's what a lot of people that want the longevity are looking for when it comes to those keys.
Yes, I absolutely agree. So how have we changed physically since the time that we were married before marriage and then now?
You know, it's crazy that you say that. And I was wondering about how transparent I was going to be with the audience.
Oh.
But I'll say two things. I've definitely been eating good since we got married, without a doubt. So when
Okay.
people say, like, you get married and, basically, I didn't let go of my physique and my figure, but I definitely was much more strict and strenuous on my diet and my training when we, first got together. And
We were
married.
playing football. So.
Exactly. I still
Yeah.
hold myself to that standard. Still to this day. So I got to get
An
back.
athlete is an athlete.
I got to get back right, and we got to be, if you didn't hear the last episode, got to stay gas station ready.
That's so real. Physically, before, again, you and I, we used to work out heavily. I mean,
We still work out heavily.
we do, but not the same. I mean, shout out to Larry Graham.
LG.
Shout out to Larry
Athletes
because
Performance Enhancement.
woo, his program, and we were doing his programs. Whoa, I'll never forget the first time I did.
Now, just so
his
y'all
program.
know, I just want to tell y'all this. This is funny, and this is just a little behind the scenes. This was an absolute relationship test in the dating process. Was taking me to work out with me at my trainer's gym, and she didn't even realize what was happening. One, we were about to go in deep water. This was a serious, intense workout.
Yes.
Secondly,
I love to work out.
It was a full-on evaluation.
So I was here for it, and then I remember I thought I'm working out with you. Oh no, you're doing your own workout. You're doing your own football workout, and Larry just throws me in with some ladies training. I'm like, I don't even know who this is.
Jump on in.
He's like, jump on in. He's like, yeah, so she's doing this for 15 reps, this is on the other. I'll never forget, and again, I will not give up. Like, that's the grit part, is I will literally throw up if I need to, and I almost did. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Keep going.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom quickly, and I went in there. I just needed to take a break for a minute because I was in the Matrix. Your girl was in the blender.
What, the Matrix, the numbers,
I
you
see
see
stars in front of me. I said, Lord Jesus. I was like, I know I work out, but this is a different type of workout.
Workout have you not ready to drive home after?
Oh yeah, no, it had me in the blender. So we took those same workouts when we were engaged, so not quite married, but engaged. Before that, we used to be in the gym 2 hours. You know, it was like 30 minutes of cardio. Then you jump into your we did stretching, and then we're jumping into our ab workout, which we're doing the decline abs. I was pushing 25-pound weight. Like, what? Your girl was.
Decline abs, crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're jumping into the workout, and it's heavy weight, a little bit on the higher reps.
We were squatting sometimes 185, I think maybe 205 a couple of times
Yeah,
over the
listen,
squats for
listen.
15, 20.
Yes.
Guys in there looking around like.
Yes, I'm doing 90 on the lat pull down for 15. I'm like, girl, we're gonna get through this. But I don't work out as heavily like that before, so that's the only thing that's kind of changed physically. But before that, I mean, I've always been active. You know, I would mountain bike. I would, do pool workouts. That's one of my other favorite things to do is pool workouts too. But that was probably physically. How have you changed emotionally?
Ooh, night and day.
Since before, night and day. That's so true.
Night and day.
Woo!
The maturation process, I'm really grateful for. The evolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just.
So that's it. Oh, that's it.
Had a
That's
lot
all
to
you got
reflect-
from the people.
I had a lot to reflect on right there. A wave of emotions came over me as I was thinking about. I think it's a combination of one, seeing how I had such a mentality, just really the Warriors mentality. You talked about grit and the work ethic and like football. You gotta have a certain energy, like especially as a middle linebacker, quarterback of the defense.
It's a gladiator sport.
It's a gladiator sport. So like to be able to be like kind of cheap, you have to turn it on and turn it off. It's like a switch, right? But then it's like, okay, how do we really make that transition? And as we talked about, when you don't transition into something that you enjoy and something that you love, and you're trying to figure out your passion and what's next, and really you feel like you kind of had your dream right on the fingertips, and it's like, okay, like did I lose? Like I thought that was like a part of the purpose and a part of the plan. What does God have for me in store now, right? So I just think it was like that figuring out process took me to like, it took me to some humble places, allowed me to really grow, and then also to do a reset and find out like, okay, that's who you were, and it's still a part of you, but who are you now? Who's the post-athlete, Kurt? And who are you going to be, and what type of impact do you want to create? And then I started to really embrace the fact that although I didn't, in my mind, achieve that, that one dream of going to the NFL, I got a chance to see, so many guys that played and came behind me that I mentored and I work with, see them be able to achieve that dream. And so it's like embracing the joy in that and not being kind of resentful to just like the football universe for having been injured and like playing, just all of the things, right? And trying to replay the time and go back to like what I could have done differently. So I know that was a long answer to the question, but that has it's made a big difference on the emotional side of just figuring out what's next on the journey. Because if you don't have the passion and the purpose and you're not feeling like you're moving in a direction that you want to go, it just, you're not as excited and jovial and passionate about just every day.
Yes. And, I think this is a great time to also talk about for the women that are with athletes that are going through that transition. That can be a very difficult time for both people because you had a lot of anger at that time too.
I didn't even watch the game. I wasn't even watching football.
Yeah, and there were some other, external factors as well, but I remember I had to tell you multiple times, you're taking your anger out on me and I'm not having it, and there were a couple of times even in the gym where, you were taking your anger out on me and I said, oh, no, you're gonna go, we're gonna go opposite ends of the gym. I'll see you at the locker room when you're done because no, you're not gonna talk to me like that. But again, I knew where you were, and I knew I'm giving you that grace because you are in that limbo phase of trying to figure out who you were, but also I'm not gonna be somebody who's gonna you're not gonna walk all over me in the sense of you're gonna take your anger out on me. So I was more vocal, in that sense, but for the women that are with the, their husbands are making that transition from being an athlete to, trying to figure it out. It is a journey, and, there's gonna be a lot of anger, there's going to be, like you said, resentment. I had a couple of years left in me, whatever that looks like. Have grace, but also don't let it be a situation where you're being kind of walked on and you're the one that's taking the brunt of the anger, because it's not you. And knowing that, so it's not like a combative, like, how dare you talk to me like that? No, it's just, but hey, I just want to let you know right now you're taking your anger out on me, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the therapy side too is so important. I wish that was something that I would have explored during that transition window.
For sure. But I also don't know if you were ready.
I know, but sometimes even when you're not ready, like it should have started as soon as the injury happened.
Definitely.
Of like, because again, you talk about closing all the windows. It's, you're in a dark room, just looking up like, oh man, woe is me, and you're like, okay, I need to transition out of that, right? But I appreciate you calling that out, and it just shows that one, no one's a finished product, right? When it comes to like, oh, we're perfect. It's like, no, there's gonna be these seasons or windows where, people talk about the peaks when it's, being at the games and being on the field and all the things, but not the valleys when it's like, whether it's the depression or the anxiety or, injuries. Like broken leg, necks bothering you, different things that have happened. So, no, that's a great call out because, and I think people deal with that in different careers and different,
absolutely, not just athletes,
all different phases, right?
Correct.
So just being able to figure out what that support looks like, getting the help as needed, but also expressing. That's one thing I appreciate that you did. You expressed it to me, whether it was my tone, what I said, how I said it, whatever the case may be. But what was impactful about it too that I really appreciated was I had to then digest why. What's the root of why my tone is elevated? What's the root of why my jaws are clenched in all of our photos? I'll never forget that. You're like, we taking these photos. Like, are you not happy? Because we're taking these photos and you're not smiling. And I was like,
I always said, are you happy? Because you're not showing it in these photos.
It's like, that's a great question. And really, but I think back, linebacker, middle linebacker, all the photos are like, it's like
football photos.
Big necks, football photo, no smiles, right? All grit. And then just also, being, kind of some of that Detroit energy in some of the places, right? It's like, you don't always come up and show up with a smile because people, will think it's sweet.
That's
take
right.
you soft.
And take advantage.
Take advantage.
You're absolutely correct.
So you got to come up, give the tough exterior, and so some of that working through those things definitely made a difference.
Yes, and I'm glad that you shared that. I feel like that's going to touch a lot of people, and they're going to resonate with that. I think for me, emotionally, before we were married, I was a lot more vocal, but then we got into some external situations where I found myself being shut down, and it was odd to me because that's not the person that I am, but it reminded me of my home situation. So when I talked about that healing phase, that first wave of healing phase in college, a lot of that had to do with my home situation, being raised in a rural area as a Black woman. That was something that was very traumatizing in a lot of ways. And so dealing with that, but then also coming full circle where I got into another situation where, I'm being shut down just like I was at my house. And so it was odd to be back in that situation. But I remember though, I remember that you and I always stay vocal with you, that's all that matters anyways. But with the external situation, I was like, oh, I could have stood up for myself here. I could have said this. Why didn't I say this, right? And those things. And so that changed a little bit from when we were engaged and then like the beginning part of our marriage. But that's definitely changed now where, going through another phase of healing, I've learned that, and really therapy, honestly, therapy was another way of me being able to stand up for myself in a way that was conducive to where I was because before it was, I didn't know how to do it. And so I was able to get some tools of how to say certain things. I also was doing some more research on YouTube, right, of like, how do you deal with conflict and what do you say? And so I think that helped a lot there.
No, I wanna circle back because people might be wondering what you're referencing right there. And interesting enough, I mentioned the pre-marriage, one of the biggest things that I thought I had a handle on that I didn't. I said finances, that was one. The other one was really family. Like, and that's, I feel like a bit of what you're, not a bit, all of what you're touching on right there. But family was one where I just knew, like, oh man, it doesn't matter when I get married, like kumbaya, everybody holding hands, big family, everything is great, but like there's all of these additional dynamics. People have their approach of how they want you and your family to integrate into how they do things, which can be very different. And it was interesting because to the point that you're making right now, I had certain people in my family, or even at the time, some old friends, they're like, DeAnna's so quiet and blah, 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 quiet. I'm like, and for me, I'm so confused because I'm like, that's that exact opposite. People that know Dee are never like, oh yeah, she's quiet and reserved, and she needs to be more vocal.
They better think they're gonna say she's loud.
She needs to be more outspoken and more vocal, and she's not. And I'm like, no, well, either you haven't given her opportunity to speak, you haven't asked her anything about her, it's not a safe space, or you're not giving that opportunity to be able to share in those types of things. So that's why you have this perception. And so there's just a lot of those little things where I thought, like, oh no, it's easy. But again, somebody that's listening to this, the integration of your marriage or your relationship with family, that's a whole other episode.
That's a whole another episode. And we will touch on that. But so how have we changed spiritually?
Oh man.
Before and after.
So I would say spiritually what's interesting, and it's gonna sound crazy, but I know there might be some people that resonate with this. I was more in the church, like we were more like in church every Sunday back then, but we're more connected spiritually, more in tune with God now than ever. I think it's not only our daily practice, but also that understanding of like, we are the church, right? How are we living God? How are we God's hands and feet or messengers out in the everyday world by how we impact people and how we treat others and those types of things? I think that's been like a really big difference maker. And not to say that, again, we're gonna obviously be in church on Sunday and do that as well, but I think it's really the how are you living?
Yes.
Right? Like, how are you living? It really kind of goes back to the, those people that are, 90s, that remember the WWJD bracelets.
Yes.
What would Jesus do? How are you living? Like, really, how are you living, your lifestyle type?
Yes. Are you sitting Monday through Saturday to come repent on Sunday?
I mean, we've been there.
Oh, we've been there.
When I met her, I was at church on New Year's Eve before. I was at church on New Year's Eve before I met you in the club. Come on now, the Lord give me a sign.
We say it's our BC days, our before Christ. Even though we knew Christ, it was
backslid.
It was yes, and I think for me spiritually, before, again, growing up in a household that was a little bit conflicting, where my mom's Catholic, my dad was Jehovah's Witness, I didn't identify. So therefore, I had to go on my own spiritual journey. I've always been connected to God though. There's been many times where the Holy Spirit has literally stopped me from either going somewhere, from doing something, from just a thought that I might have. The Holy Spirit has literally come over me. So I've always been spiritual. But when it came to you and us getting together, that was something for me that you were so heavily involved in the church. And that was something for me that was different. It was great. I remember the first time, and people are gonna be in the comments tearing me up, but that was the first time I listened to Kirk Franklin was with you. I was like, who's this? She's just jamming. Hey,
Stop.
Hey.
Come on now.
Love it.
And this is before Kirk was wearing the little shorts too. He wasn't wearing the shorts. He was wearing the workout.
Or grinding on the, what. So spiritually, you opened me up to a lot, and then even the pastor that we had at the time, he was very much aligned with where we were at the time. Although we've removed ourselves from that church now, it was something that was instrumental for us both to be able to get on that cadence, like you said, of making sure that we were coming to church every Sunday, and then also being we were part of the men's service, women's service, being able to also give back and speak on health and wellness. We were hosting boot camps at our church, and so just being able to be involved that way too was something that spiritually just filled our cups. But to your point, we definitely are more in tune now.
Absolutely, and just for somebody that's listening, might be like, Holy Spirit, what do you mean? Like, I'm not, maybe not at the point from a faith or spiritual level to really know what that means, but sometimes the Holy Spirit can be that just feeling. You ever hear somebody say, like, I had a feeling?
Yeah.
Like, I had a feeling not to go there that day or that moment across the street, and then something happens across the street. It's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't, like, there was a wreck or there was something that happened. A lot of times that is the Holy Spirit, that's that voice or, intuition, whatever you want to call it, but it's that Holy Spirit that's reminding you, like, hey, I'm protecting you, I'm looking out for you. Are you listening? Are you in tune? And I think that's something else that's really more impactful now. There used to be so many different voices throughout the day that did just
it was constant.
It was constant. That a lot of times, if there's constant noise or distraction, you're not able to really tap in and hear that Holy Spirit, right?
Yeah.
If you can be in tune, there are signs that are happening.
Yeah.
And wonders and miracles.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how did you change mentally before you were married and why you were married?
Yeah, I would say mentally, definitely a maturation process. Like, I knew there were areas that I was advanced, but like I just know there's being a lifelong learner and really seeing how much you don't know.
Yes.
Like I just didn't know I didn't know how much I didn't know.
Yeah.
Which sounds kind of crazy, but that would probably be the biggest thing. Like when they say there's more life and there's more to learn and more to live, like I truly understand. And I know there's even, I'm going to say this even more, we'll talk about this 20 years from now, 30, 40 years from now. It's like, man, we didn't know what we knew now then. So I would probably say like that's the biggest thing. And mentally having the tools and the resources like therapy, like meditation, like the power hour, and different things that we put in place to really give us that framework to not be distracted, to be able to really stay on track to our purpose and purpose driven. Because the more distractions, right? It's like fastest, line is from point A to point B. But if you're bouncing around or distracted, it's going to take you a longer time to get to the goal.
Yes, and I think for you to add to what you just said, yes, on the therapy piece, that has been a big one, but I think a lot of it too is the open-mindedness. Where before, it's not that you were closed off, you weren't a closed-minded person, but it was just it was a little bit of the machismo, right? Where it's, a little bit more on the man side. And no, I don't think I should be doing, therapy or wellness retreats or aerial yoga, right? Those things. But I think as we progress through our marriage, and it'll be 9 years in October, and again, you also trusting me too, where I'm not going to steer you wrong in the sense of, hey, I think this is going to be great for your mental health. Like, I don't think when we first got married, you're going to be going to Savannah and having a buffalo drum being waved in front of you, or doing the aerial yoga or the feng shui class or any of those things. I don't think that you mentally were open to it. But as we just progressed, and even in our own health and wellness journeys, and seeing what it is, what a sound bath is, and sound healing, and learning more about each one and going through these processes has been a big game changer I've been seeing in your mental health too, to be able to move forward.
No, big time. I agree too. It might start off with just journaling before it's like sound healing. Close your eyes, hold hands. You're surrounded by a group of people.
Like wellness retreat.
It's a build-up process. You know what I mean? And going and I appreciate you for also meeting me where I was at on the journey, and us continuing to stack these experiences because it continues to build.
Right.
And so now that you build your muscle memory, you're like, hey, I am more open to a wellness retreat. I'm open to us going to, like, even now, like hotels and things we go to, we're mindful of our mental health of like, oh, does this have wellness elements at the hotel to be able to stay in our routine, which is, again, it's a game changer.
Yes, I agree. I would say for me, what's changed mentally before we were married and after, mentally, for me, honestly, I think it's just the learning of the new versions of myself and letting go of some of the older versions and not being so like, no, I have to hold on to that part of my identity, where your identity is just morphing. It's just turning into something that's greater. And before I would be trying to hold on to things, and even, I've talked about this before, but with my body dysmorphia, that was something before that took over so much of my mental clarity, really, because I used to think so much about my body, what people thought about my body. Do I look like an athlete? Am I lean? How do I look? Always worried about how did I look, but you did a great job over the years of just speaking life into me, and then also just telling me, getting comfortable too, right, with each other and those things, and being vulnerable in that sense in the mental space. But yeah, I think that's the biggest one for me.
You find like wine in the summertime.
Yes, I love you. All right, so we're gonna jump into a fun Q&A. This is supposed to be rapid fire. So what's one habit your spouse has now that makes your life better? So one habit that I have now that makes your life better.
I'm trying to think of one habit. I mean, there's so many. I'm trying to think of one habit that you have now.
For me, it's your discipline. Definitely, your discipline. Like you do a great job, and it does go back to your athlete mindset. I feel like you're literally preparing yourself for game day, for a tournament, or like something like that. So you approach every day in that way of like, no, today is game day, or today is the day that I'm going to prep for that big meeting that I have at the end of the week, that I'm going to give it my all, but then also your preparation every day looks just like that, and being disciplined in your routine.
So I would say mine for you is your vast vision and being able to stay on the macro, because I'm very much like you said, I'm game day.
Yes.
I got the itinerary for today.
Yes.
But not necessarily for 2 years from now. Right? Like that framework, we're gonna get there, but but that's that balance and that yin and yang of you do such a great job with that. This is rapid fire.
Yes. What's something you thought was annoying at first, but now you secretly love?
Oh man, something I thought was annoying was you.
First off, the fact that you came so quick and you couldn't come quick to the last one, that's crazy.
You wore me up. And the fellas are gonna get this one.
He said, oh, annoying. Oh, let me
No,
tell
the
you.
fellas are gonna get this one, but basically correcting me about, telling me I should slow down when I'm eating.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, fella, is this your last meal?
Yes.
Can you please slow down?
Yes,
And
that's taking
And I
time.
used to be offended. How dare you tell me to slow down? And it's like, no, thank you. I need water. I need to slow
Yes.
down so I don't eat 2 dinners.
Yes. Something I thought was annoying at first. I mean, sometimes you come so heavy on the testosterone and like I'm in your face. I'm like, yeah, okay, like
I do pull up on her.
Like, give me a little bit of a break, okay? I need a little bit of room here. I love it. But then, sometimes I'm like, wait a minute.
She's like, I'm popping up on you like, hey.
Yes, but it's just heavy testosterone. Like you're giving me game day. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're just prepping for the week. Like,
Fellas, it's always
just...
game day. Somebody's with me.
Okay, what's one way your spouse has helped you glow up?
Oh man, I would have to say so many areas, but just.
I'm glad you were quick with this one as well.
Come on, you get warmed up. The first one was like trade. I want to make sure I get the trade. I'm really making sure that I got the right information here. These are easy. I'll have to say as far as just elevating some of my routines and habits to open myself up to what better products are out there, i.e. skincare routines, hair care. Even like for me, I've been frugal to a fault in some ways, and you're like, babe, it's not worth saving $20 and not having any leg room on the flight.
No, I refuse.
You're like, babe, you're getting ready to fly on a 10-hour flight, and you're like, it's $20 to save on the leg room. Like, we don't need to.
No.
But again, those little things of like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, you know what, you're so right. Conditioning and exposure.
Yes. One way you've helped me glow up is on the workout side. I would say on the workout side, just because again, you're coming in like it's game day, like you're in the training room at the University of Washington or the 2 other schools you went to, and you're just we're in here to move some weight.
I'll just say something else.
Well, that was one.
Okay, no worries.
What are you gonna say?
You know, your footwear has really been elevated since.
It has. You're right. You're right. My sneakers. Yes, my sneakers. My sneakers. Okay.
Oh, I be eating good too. I have to say that one.
Yes.
You do cook for me, so that's probably one of the biggest. I probably should put that first. It's 3 squares a day and 2
Yes.
snacks.
Listen, I'm just trying to keep up with your game. That's it. Okay, lessons and takeaways. What's one tip for couples that they should live by?
Keep God first. Keep the faith as the foundation.
Yes. Faith is the foundation. One tip for couples to live by is to give grace.
Charge it to my head and
Not my heart. To give grace. Most of the time it's a miscommunication.
Facts.
Okay, what's one thing that changed your view on marriage?
Us.
Okay.
And to be honest,
Okay.
you know, I wasn't always as optimistic about marriage and just like
Sure.
being in a happy marriage and that it can work and
Yeah.
last and all those
You just
things.
don't
So,
see it that often. Yeah.
so I feel like being able to be the example.
Yes. That changed my view on marriage. Well, I always knew that I was going to be.
5 love languages would be my second one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. On marriage, I always knew that I was going to be a wife. That was something that I just knew in my heart. But I would say one thing that changed my view on marriage is more so being in a marriage and realizing that you have to, there's a whole nother person that you are, I don't wanna say you're taking on their baggage, but you are taking on all of your conditioning, your
No,
exposure.
but for baggage is very.
I know, I just didn't wanna like.
But not to be in a negative way, but if you're going from all of your bags, my bags.
My bags,
are
we're
moving
trying
into, we all going on one trip.
Yes. That changed your view on marriage, because you hear about it, but you don't know it until you live it, and then you live it, and it's like, oh,
It's like,
this is
oh,
what we're
man,
talking about.
it's a hussy.
This
We
is really
both gotta
hussy.
take this on.
It is really ussy. What's one lesson you wished you learned earlier in our marriage?
Ooh, one lesson I wish I learned earlier would have been.
I would say we did a decent job for, again, being in our early 20s, but I would say something earlier that we could have learned is just how to effectively communicate. But again, we did a great job, I thought, for where we were in our lives. But again, if we can just, a lesson that we wish we learned earlier, there would have been just some more clarity on some things, I think, earlier on.
Yeah, I would say something earlier would be, yes, making it all about him as in God, but then making it all about us. So I think a lot of times earlier on, whether it was functions, parties,
Sure.
celebrations, even wedding, like, yo, why are so many other people that are coming up at thought and are like, it's what they want
Right.
to do. What do y'all want to eat? What do y'all want to do? Where do y'all want to be?
Yeah.
Like, listen, if y'all ain't joining us and are what we want,
Right.
like, and if nobody else joins us, it's about me and you anyway. So
Period.
like, having that early on is a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you want to add? That's it. All right.
Mike's still here with his job.
Yes, so we shared the before marriage glow up, how we've changed, even some of our lessons and takeaways to bring your best self into your marriage. If this episode made you laugh, think, or maybe send your spouse a thank you, please share this with another couple. We want to be able to touch as many lives as we can. Our whole mission with Coupley Fit is to create generational health. This is one way that we can do it. So until next time, keep growing, glowing, and feeling better together. Bye.
And beautiful, guys. Dynamite.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful episode.
Tyler, what do you think?
Great. Good job.
Next episode, brought